How's everyone doing? Back for another ride. Leaving the house. Heading south. Heading towards... Gotta go see another patient, right? So, I saw some people this morning. Saw my peeps this morning. Came home, had a quick lunch. Lunch was a bowl of cereal. And now we're heading south to go see an afternoon patient. And the weather is starting to look kind of bad. Right? That's out west over the Everglades. And then we're gonna be heading south. Let me see if I get that thing out of there. There you go. Alright, so speed bump. Put these speed bumps in because people used to fly down this road. Speed limit's like, I don't know, 25, 30, and people used to go like 50, 60 miles an hour. Because it's a straight shot from the traffic light in the distance back to where we came from, all the way down there. It's like with a straight line. And it's like a quarter of a mile straight. And people at night would like drag race up and down the street. It's a miracle that no one got killed. So they put these speed bumps in so to slow them down. And they've kind of done that around all the neighborhoods, all these roads. They've put in some sort of speed bumps. But I'm gonna go see someone I have a 2:15 appointment. The patient had a traumatic brain injury on the way home from work. Lost control of the car and went off the road and crashed. Some people, I believe, they said the person may have lost control. I mean, may have fell asleep at the wheel. Not really sure. I don't know. That's not my end. I see the diagnosis. Traumatic brain injury. So the patient has varying levels of contractions. His arms are contraction. The arms are contracted. Legs have issues. Arms have issues. You know, sometimes as a therapist, you can kind of look at the different muscle groups and what's contracted, what's not contracted, what's flaccid, and you can kind of start to piece together the puzzle of what area of the brain has been affected by the injury. And unfortunately, when you look at this particular patient, it's hard. It's just so many different things going on that it's hard to figure it out. So anyway, you see the rain. It's kind of out west. It's out over the Everglades right now. You know, as the afternoon goes on, we'll see if it builds up and starts to rain. You know, the forecast for this weekend is not very good. It's supposed to the weather reporter said it's not a rain out. Doesn't anticipate a rain out, but it's going to be pretty wet. So we'll see. last weekend was a rain out for sure. So yeah, so those rain clouds there. That's the Everglades. Then that building to your left, that's where the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers play hockey. The American Center. Cashless building. If you have cash, you can't spend it there. They only take cards. I didn't even know that was legal. I thought all businesses had to take cash. Anyway, I know my phone's in a kind of a weird area. You see the dash and everything, but yesterday I was driving around and the sun was so intense. The sun was so intense that my phone started overheating. So I kind of had it I backed it away from the window a little bit. And so it's not that directly in the sun. This little doohickey right here, hanging down. That's my pass on the expressway. It's all electronic, so I'll move that later. I'm not doing it now while I'm driving. It's 1:30 in the afternoon and it's about 90 degrees. And because of the way the cloud cover is, I think it's shading the sun a little bit. So yeah, so 91 degrees. That white ball you see on your right, Doppler radar. We have an airport area, so they build those radar units on the I-75. As you're coming up, you see that big ramp off to the right. That takes you on what's called 595, and that, if you stay on that takes you east. It's an expressway that takes you east, all the way down to the port of Fort Lauderdale. They have all kinds of exits you can get off. Now here's I-75 north, right? So if you veer off to the right, that takes you across the state. You go across the area called Alligator Alley. It basically cuts right through the heart of Everglades National Park. And that'll take you to the west coast. It takes about an hour. It's about an hour drive at about 70 miles an hour. You arrive in Naples, and that I-75 will take you up. Not really along the coast of West Florida, but it'll take you up. You can go to Tampa, and then it curves back through the middle of the state up into Gainesville, and I-75 goes all the way up to Michigan, Canada, I think. It's like I-95, right? Except they call it I-75. Switch lanes. Now, if you want to know, I'm doing 70. And the people are passing me like, and the speed limit, I think, speed limit is 70, so I'm doing the speed limit. And obviously he's not, and this one's not either, so. It used to be 55. Can you imagine that? The speed limit used to be 55. But the cars back then were like rattle traps. Metal rattle traps. have express lanes. I don't know where else there might be, but you can get off this main area. It's like 75 cents or $1, 50 cents right now. You can get into the express lanes, and they're 2 lanes. It's still the same speed limit. Some people go faster, but they have limited exits. So if you get in there to the express lane, you just can't jump off. You got to wait. Sometimes you got to drive 4 or 5 miles before you can get off. And there's a bunch of cars on the left going into it. And sometimes it works because it's like on 75 as you start entering Miami, it kind of gets backed up. Traffic will slow down. It'll start slowing down and backing up because it merges onto some other expressways. And those expressways, where they merge, the traffic backs up. By those express lanes, they built different bridges for them, and it kind of bypasses all that. It can save you sometimes 5-10 minutes. So if you're not in a big hurry and you're getting off, you're not getting off for a while, the express lane might be the way to go. But the price varies. Like right now it's like 50 cents to go down to Sheridan Street, which is not that far. And then they had different increments. The farther you go, the more money you pay. But what they do is when rush hour traffic comes, they use the tolls to control traffic. Like if they want more people, if they want to take people out of these lanes, like these lanes started getting full, the traffic starts backing up, and they'll lower the price of the express lanes to entice people to take the express lanes, right? And then vice versa. Like if they want less people in the express lanes, they'll raise the prices. I was coming out of Miami heading north, and the traffic was backed up, so I jumped in the express lanes, and the express lanes were $10. It was $10 to take the express lanes. But coming out of Miami, you were like it was literally for 10 miles and stop and go. Like you'd be there for 45 minutes and stop and go traffic on I-95. So I jumped in the express lanes, paid $10, and the express lanes were barely moving. And I'm like, and at some points we were at a standstill, and the other lanes were moving. So you pay all that money sometimes, and it doesn't work. You're going just as slow as the other lanes. So this is another way. Like if you live north like in Fort Lauderdale area, and you're heading south, and you want to go to the Keys. Well, this is one of the ways you would go. You would take 75, and then there's an exit for the Turnpike extension, and you would jump on that. Jump on the Turnpike extension, and that would take you a little bit farther west and then south, and you would pass through like the South Miami cities, and down through Homestead, and then you start getting to the top of the Florida Keys. And if my house to that point, to the top of the Keys, is about an hour, 20-minute drive. And then driving in the Keys is slow going. It's not far. Like from the top of the Keys down to Key West is like a 70 miles or something like that. But it turns into like a 2.5, 3 hour trip. Because it's stop and go traffic, you're driving through little towns, the road's only 2 lanes. If there's an issue, an accident, it gets all backed up. Certain areas of the Keys, the road's only 1 lane in each direction. And sometimes you're in traffic. Let me tell you, it's terrible. Like if you're in the Keys on the weekend, and kind of go down there for the weekend and you want to head home Sunday, you either got to leave real early, like check out like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and you can get home quick, or wait till late afternoon. It's kind of, because if you try to go, like 10, 11 o'clock, you'll be in traffic miles long. People with their RVs coming home, people with their towing their boats. It's really can become a hassle. And what I've noticed is, people used to go down to the Keys for the day. They used to go down there and they pull off on the side of the road. You have these little areas that people like. It's like one lane, and then they'd have like a shoulder that's like 5 or 6 feet wide, and people used to pull over, put up these little 10 by 10 pop-up tents, and jump in the water and spend the day there. Having a picnic and stuff. And over the years, they've been eliminating that. What they did was they put rock, like big rock. And I don't know if like there was erosion going on, but they put a lot of this rock down, so people just can't. You can't do that anymore. You just can't pull over on the side of the road, and, put up a tent and have a picnic. It's almost impossible now. And I don't know why they did that. I think there was a couple hurricanes and they had some erosion, and maybe that's the way they were trying to stop the erosion. Who knows? Oh man. I don't know if people saw my, some of the people who saw my morning live stream, they were taken back by the area that I was driving through. A pretty nice area. And I got to an area where there's a food bank. There was a line like a quarter of a mile long along the side of the road. People waiting for the food bank to start giving out the food. People in the live stream were shocked. They just couldn't believe it. And yeah, it's not all fun and games for people anymore. There's some issues going on. People are having a hard time. A lot of people getting laid off. And right now I'm pretty fortunate. I'm in the healthcare field, and I'm out in the field. I'm not in an office, and that's one of the things, right? When you work in an office and you're not out in the field, it's almost like you're expendable. I worked for a company that had a large staff. It had maybe 12 to 15 people, and you got to do a lot of work. Your nurses, your LPNs, your RNs, your CNAs, and then your therapists. They have to see a lot of people. They'd be able to afford payroll, And from what I understand, there's been a little bit of a slowdown, and I've been a little bit slower than normal. I think this week I'm doing 5 visits less than I did last week. And I think we're waiting on the doctors to sign off on some documents, some scripts, you know. We're waiting on, we're just waiting on waiting on the doctor to sign off. But it's a pain in the neck, because the doctors, they only come around like a month at a time. They come down, they come by like once a month. But they don't sign the script for some reason, or they have a concern. You can't address it right away because you're not there, because you don't know when they're coming. Then you leave a little sticky note and you make the adjustments, and you gotta wait another month. And you know what? How about if you have patients who are post operation, post confinement from a hospital? What do you tell them? What do you tell the family? So the doctors can be a little bit could be an issue. They don't even let you bring it to the office, right? Hey, can I bring this paperwork by? They don't even want you to do that. InDrive, Miami's new rideshare app. See if I can fix this. This is driving me crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I think that little suction cup's been up there so long that it's melted to the windshield, so I'm not gonna mess with that. So InDrive, Miami's new rideshare app. So that's something new. Never really heard of InDrive. So now we're facing east. And you can see that big cloud, like right there. That big cloud's a thunderstorm, man. You can tell that it's east. If you look at the base of it, I can see the base. There's you can see the edge. There's rain, and it's pretty intense. When that cloud is jetting up that high, you know that's intense. One good thing about a Wednesday is that I got paid. That's true. I get paid on Wednesdays. How weird is that? My wife will get paid on Friday. She gets paid every other Friday, and I get paid every other Wednesday. It's kind of weird. I've never had a job where I get paid on a Wednesday. I'm not going to complain, but it's a whole different deal. Went to the office this morning, dropped off paperwork. They handed me other paperwork to put back in folders for patients. They handed me a check, 2 checks, one to drop off at a facility, one for me, for my pay, and then some other stuff. This patient I'm on my way to see, every now and then I gotta hold my breath on Wednesdays because And sometimes they cancel. They cancel and they want me to come on Friday. So I didn't care. I don't care one way or the other, really. Usually when I work Monday through Thursday. I see patients Monday through Thursday, and then I use Friday as my paperwork, my office paperwork day, or if there's any cancellations or any last minute issues, I try to make it up on Fridays. And sometimes I have to do it, sometimes I don't. But last Friday I don't think I did anything. I didn't have anything I had to do. And as long as tomorrow works out, which normally I never have problems with my Thursday people. I should be good to go Friday to do my paperwork. That's one thing about what I do for a living. Seeing people is that, believe it or not, treating people is the easy part. Treating people that's easy. It's the paperwork that's the problem. The paperwork is the most time-consuming thing. It's time-consuming. Sometimes you submit paperwork, it gets sent back to you because of issues. I've been doing this long enough now that I don't really have issues with paperwork being sent back. I've been doing this long enough. I kind of know what I have to put in, what they want documentation-wise. So I can go to work really for any company, and no matter what app they use or what program they're using, I can. No matter what app they use, I kind of know what I have to do documentation-wise. But I got a few minutes to kill. This patient that I'm seeing today, they're pretty strict on time. Right? If I tell them, I've been coming here for over a year now, twice a week for over a year. They want you there at like 2:15, not at 2:30. No, 2:30 is okay. Anything past 15-20 minutes, they kind of get a little crazy. But they don't want you there early, right? Like, that's why I'm sitting in the car. Unless she notices my car, sometimes, every once in a while, she'll see the car and she'll say, "Hey, if you want, you can come in," because they're on a strict schedule. This particular person's on a strict schedule. There's certain things they have to do at certain intervals throughout the day to get that person, certain programs the person's on, a bowel program, she calls it, so they have to be ready. So the only thing that'll make me leave is if it looks like it's gonna rain. And right now it looks like rain, but it's not. It hasn't started. So we'll see what happens. I don't see anyone tuning in. I know we've had some people come in and look around, I think, and leave. Nothing really exciting today. Yesterday, I got out a little early, so I was gonna take a drive down to the beach and show everyone what it looks like driving to the beach from out west, and all the road you're on, and all the shops, and how the neighborhoods change as you get closer to the beach, right? The neighborhoods change. It's funny, from the beach to the Everglades is about 15 miles, and you have other communities in between. And the older homes are kind of like near the beach, along the intercoastal waterways and stuff. A lot of the older homes, I guess, when people first started settling, Florida started building up, like in the 40s and the 50s, and they built near the water. The farther you get west, from the beach, the newer the homes are. That's where all the new construction's going on. That's where people are, the home I live in was built in the early 80s. In the early 80s. And I remember as a kid that area was all swamp. Well, brush. And they built really as far as they can. Like in my area, what they're going to try to do, what they're trying to do, they're trying to buy whatever property's left. They don't want to build really single-family homes anymore. They're trying to build multiple homes. Like, they love apartments. They love apartments because they can put, or condos, because they can put, imagine where my house is, right? My house is a single family home. But if it was an apartment, you could have 3 or 4 single family homes on top of one another. So they could put 4 homes on one piece of property. And that's what they're trying to do. They want to go up. And you see that now down in Fort Lauderdale. Like, we never had a skyline like Miami, right? Miami, and even when I was a kid, Miami didn't have the biggest skyline in the world. Now you go down there, there's 40, 50, 60-story buildings everywhere. They're squeezing a lot of people in to this one area. And it's almost like, it's like if you went to New York. Downtown Miami's, now there's a difference, right? There's a difference for you all if you haven't been to Miami. There's a huge difference between people who are going to South Beach, because people will see downtown Miami, and you see downtown Miami along the water, right? Biscayne Bay. You'll see those, and you're like, hey man, Miami's so cool. The city's right there on the water. It is. But when you start talking South Beach and places like that, it's not near downtown. South Beach is farther east. To get to South Beach from downtown, you have to, it's probably not long, 10 or 15 minutes, but on a highway, and then traffic. So there's a difference between if you were coming down here to visit and you were going to and you were staying downtown, one of the hotels there, and you were calling an Uber, it's probably a 4 or 5 mile drive. Depending on traffic, it could be anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on the traffic, to get to South Beach. You can't walk unless you're like want to walk. It's up to you. But yeah, that's a whole nother deal, right? You have downtown Miami and all the little surrounding areas of downtown Miami. But then when you go over the causeway, they call it, over to South Beach and Ocean Drive and all that, that's a whole nother area. That's a whole nother, that's a whole nother place, And then from there, from South Beach, you can drive north all through the condos and hotels. It's like Sometimes you drive up and down South Beach and you can't believe, I mean, you can drive from South Beach, downtown Miami, all the way north, up into Broward County towards Fort Lauderdale, along A1A, US1, and it's like you just sit there and believe, you can't believe that they can put so many, all those hotels, like there's a hotel, the hotels like right next door to one another, like a 300-room hotel. It could be a Hilton, and then right next door is a Sheraton, and then right next door is another, the Fountain Blue. And it's like, man, that many people come down to Miami that you can fill all those hotel rooms up. That's like insane. And if you drive Uber or Lyft, like I told you, I kind of do that once in a while, right? I'll drive Uber and Lyft when I'm in between patients. You can go down there. Oh my God! If you own a minivan, like I own a minivan, right? So I can take more people. I'm just not. It's just not 2 or 3 people. I can take up to 3, 4. I could put 6 people in here comfortably, and you can make $1,000 a day. You literally can make $1,000. I might be over stretching it, but if you put in, like some of these people do, like I drove, I did, I forget which app it was. I think it was Lyft. I did Lyft, and I started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I stopped at 4, and I made a little over $400. And that's minus the $60 I put in gas. I went through $60 in gas, but I profited $400. And and you can do it. You can do it. And what some of these people do, they have a law, right? I think the law is, I think Uber, you can drive 11 hours maybe, almost like a trucker. I think it's 11 hours, might be a little less. I've never had to worry about it. But people, you can drive 12 hours, but then your app shuts off. You can't access the app. You got to be off for a certain amount of time, and then it'll come back on. But what they do is they'll drive Lyft for 8, 9, 10 hours, and they'll just shut it off. They'll shut it off, and they'll put on Uber. They'll switch over to the other app. So they're really not taking a break. They're not taking a break. They're working 16, 17 hours. But it's like you can make good money. And same thing up in Orlando, right? Up in Orlando, when I go to Orlando and you're up around the hotels where Disney World, Universal, Sea World, and all those places are, same thing. You can make, it's almost guaranteed there. You can make really good money because most of the people are families, right? They're families on vacation, especially around the resorts. And you always got 3, 4, 5 people in the car. Some people try to get around that. Like they won't schedule the XL, right? So I'm sure everyone's taking Lyft or Uber. Like if you go from point A to point B and it's just you in the car, it might be a $5 or $6 ride. But if it's an XL where you're putting 4 or 5 people in the car, it might be $15, right? So that happens a lot down at the airports. The airports, people will put in for a regular car, and then when you get there, they got like 4 or 5 people, and and you see it because you have people who don't drive. They drive cars, right? You have a lot of Toyota Camrys down at the airport doing Uber and Lyft, and they they get a call. They get there, and there's four people with luggage trying to get into a Camry, and then the driver the driver can't doesn't want to deny the ride, right? Because what'll happen is they don't give you another ride right away. You got to go back to the lot. You go back to the Uber lot. Sometimes at the airport you can sit in the Uber lot, the rideshare lot, sometimes a half hour waiting on a ride, and all of a sudden you get a ride. You go there, and the people didn't order the right type of vehicle, and you can get screwed. I think there's a way you can go on the app and the driver can give the reason why they're canceling. It could be that they had for various reasons, and then they'll give you a priority. Um, the best scenario, like I did the other day, I got done seeing someone. I put on the app, and I got like what's it, $18 ride. I'm sure every time I tell the story, my numbers change. It was like an $18 ride, and it took me down to Fort Lauderdale Airport. Just a guy with two pieces of luggage. And then when I got there, as I'm dropping him off, he's getting out of the car. They automatically assign me to another ride. Sometimes when you get there, you drop someone off, they'll tell you, hey, if you want more rides, head back to the Uber waiting area. So I would go back, and it's probably a couple miles away. You pull into the lot, and then it tells you that you're 20th in the queue, you're 30th in the queue, and then it'll tell you, okay, start heading back toward the terminal. We have a ride to assign you. But what happened was when I got there, I was dropping the guy off, and as I'm dropping him off, my app automatically accepted another ride. So I pulled out, and Fort Lauderdale International Airport's two stories, right? You got the drop-off area, and you got the arrival area. So I dropped him off up top, had to circle through the terminal, come back around, and the ride I got was from Fort Lauderdale to Miami. It was five people who were going on a cruise, and there was four pieces of luggage, and I was able to fit it in the back of the car, and that turned out to be a $65 ride, because it was a base of $45 being paid to me by Lyft, and then they gave me a $20 tip. So like in a matter of an hour and 20 minutes, I'd already made 65, 75, like over $80, and then you got to be careful, because once you get, when you do your Uber Lyft, the drivers will tell you, you might start off in Fort Lauderdale, and they have some things now where you can set up some preferences, but you don't know where you'll start off. You don't know what's going to happen. You might get a ride like I did from the airport. I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm literally 2 minutes from my house, and I get a ride to the airport. Next thing you know, I get another ride. Now I'm down in Miami, and then one day this happened, and I get a ride in from Miami from downtown. I had to go over to the VA, which is near downtown, and I took it. And I had to take someone all the way down to Homestead from downtown Miami. Now I'm down in Homestead, right? And I get a ride to take someone to Key Largo. I know you don't know what I'm talking about, but that's like I started off 2 minutes from my house. In a matter of 4 rides, I'm like 100 miles away from my house, and I'm down in Homestead. I'm almost in the freaking Keys, right? Then I'm in the Keys. I'm in Key Largo. So immediately you got to throw your app. You got to put your preferences that you want to go back north. You want to start heading back towards your house. So any rides that come up will bring you back. They'll try to get you towards the back of your house. I mean, the back of your house, towards your house. Because if not, you can get someone in Key Largo who's going farther south in the Keys, down to Alvarado. Next thing you know, you can in a matter of a few rides, you can wind up down in the Keys, down in Key West. So you got to be careful, And I know some of the drivers out there, some people who do Uber or Lyft, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, I think I got a couple more minutes. Yeah. 2:10. I'll see my patient. Then I'll roll. So I'm curious to see what topics people want to talk about. I'm a Bitcoin holder. I'm a Solana holder. I'm a therapist. I drive Uber and Lyft. I do my own brakes on my car. I put in my own radiator on my car. I made my grocery list. I'm debating now. Do I go home? I've eaten out every day this week. That's another thing, right? Is it cheaper to go out to dinner? If you do it the right way, is it cheaper than to cook at home? And I'm going to tell you why. I went to a place called Chili's, right? I went to Chili's. They got the special going on. I had a 6-ounce sirloin steak with corn on the cob and mashed potatoes. And I get to select an appetizer. So I got the chips, but I got what they call the flight, which you get 3 different sauces, which was a $3.99 upcharge. My son got the slider combo, which is like 3 sliders. My wife got some dinner. She got a salad, a soup, and 3 drinks. And because I had the Chili's app, you scan it and you get free chips, right? So I saved $7.69 with that, and I paid just a $3.99 upcharge. So the 3 of us ate with tip about $60, right? So I priced it out. I was telling my wife, if I went to the store and bought 3 ribeye steaks, the steaks were $38 for 3 ribeye steaks. $38 at the grocery store. And then buy three baked potatoes. How many people have sour cream and all that other stuff with them at all times? I don't. So I'd have to buy the sour cream. And then you could, it's like when you start buying all that stuff, and then the time involved, right? The time of cooking it, and I mean, it would cost me like $50. It costs like $50 to have a steak dinner at home. Between buying the steaks, and then you have to prepare it. You work all day. You prepare. So that's $50. Would you do that, or would you rather just spend the $60 that it cost me and go to Chili's? They get chips and salsa, 3 meals, all the free refills you want. I don't know. What do you think? And then I had another company called Huey Magoo's chicken tenders. So I got 14. It's buy one get one every time. You buy 7 chicken tenders with French fries and Texas toast, and you get another 7 tenders, fries, and Texas toast. And you get a little individual coleslaw, and you buy a side salad, right? So my wife, my son, and I eat. We split 14 chicken tenders. There's always like 5 or 6 left over because we can't eat them all. They're so big. Plus the Texas toast, plus the fries, and it's literally less than $30, right? So tell me what you think. I think it's cheaper. In some cases, to eat out than to try to buy the food at home. All right. I gotta go in. See y'all later.